This lesson we're looking at quartiles, deciles and percentages. So when we're looking at the median and quartiles, our quartiles are divided into a set of quarters, or divides our set into a set of quarters. The lower quartile, which is Q1 or QL, is the bottom quarter or 25% of scores. The upper quartile, which is Q3 or QU for upper, is the top quarter or the top 25% of scores. The middle quartile, or Q2, is the median, and it separates the two middle quarters. So to find the quartiles of a set of data, you sort the scores in order from lowest to highest and find the median and label it. And then you find the middle of the lower half of scores, which is Q1, and then the middle of the upper half of scores, which is Q3. So to find the quartiles for each set of data, the marks obtained by a class of students for a maths test. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So half of 10 is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is my halfway point. So my Q2, or my median, is halfway between these two scores. So 39 plus 45 divided by 2, which is going to give me 42. I'm then looking at this bottom half of scores to find my Q1. There are 5 numbers, so my middle score, which is Q1 is going to be 35. I'll do the same at the top. I want the middle, which is my Q3, which would be 50. I then have the scores obtained by a golfer for the first 9 holes on a golf course. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 scores, so I'm looking for that middle number, which is going to be my 5th score. So my Q2 is 4. What I'm then looking for, if I have 4 numbers below here, I need halfway between the middle two. If the numbers are the same, it's pretty simple. It's just going to be the same number. But if they're different, we would have to do like what we did with our median up above here. So same here, here's my 2 middle scores. So my Q3 is 6 again, because those 2 numbers are the same. Now we're going to have a look at deciles. So if we think of deciles being divided into tenths, and it's D1, D2, all the way through to D9. So deci, 1/10 of something. So D2 cuts off the lowest 20% of scores, D6, lowest 60%, D9, lowest 90% of scores, or it could be the top 10%, depending on the way that you want to look at it. So the heights in centimetres of 20 kindergarten children were recorded. So if we break this up, this would be our D1, this is D2, D3, D4, D5. So it's broken into groups of 2 because there are 20 students, and dividing 20 by 10 gives us 2. This is our D6, D7, D8, and D9. So what is the second decile for this data? So what we're looking at is we want it halfway between our D2 and our D3. So our decile 2 and our decile 3. So halfway between, so that would be 96 plus 98 divided by 2, which is going to give us 97. So D2 is 97. The 5th decile for data, so if I'm looking at the end of decile 5 and between decile 6, that number is the same, so I don't have to do anything there. So our D5 would be 100. And what would be another name for our 5th decile? Well, that is simply, if it's the middle 50%, it's our median. We then also need to find the value that separates the bottom 60% of lengths from the top 40%. So if I look at our D6, I look back at our data here, between D6 and D7 is 102 and 103. So 102 plus 103, and I need to find that halfway point, so it's 102.5. And our last question, if the height of Gabriel is in the top 10% of the kindergarten children, what height must she be greater than? So if I'm looking at that top 10%, I'm looking at my 9th decile. So that means she has to be 109 centimetres. And our last thing here are our percentiles. So if you think of a percentage is out of 100. So our percentiles are simply each percentage. So P1, P2, all the way up to P99. So P21 is the lowest 21% of scores, P40 lowest 40%, P76 lowest 76%, or the top 24% of scores. So the information is based on the heights of boys in age 17 years. So if we think about our key points, our median is 180. Our first quartile is 167. Our 8th decile is 191. Our 10th percentile is 163. And our 95th percentile is 200 centimetres. So all the boys in the following questions are age 17 years. James's height is 200 centimetres. Is he tall for his age, and what percentage of 17-year-old boys are taller than him? So if we look at the information there, he is 200 centimetres, so that puts him in that 95th percentile, which is that top fifth of a percent. So we just say, yes, only 5% are taller as he sits in the 95th percentile. Patrick is taller than 80% of boys in his age. What is his height? So if we think 80%, we're looking into those deciles. So the 8th decile is 191. So therefore he has to be at least 190 centimetres tall. If 3/4 of boys his age are taller than Xavier, how tall is he? So what we're looking for there is, if 3/4 are taller, we're looking for that first quartile. So our Q1, which is 167 centimetres. What height separates the bottom 10% of heights from the top 90%? So again, we're looking at that 10th percentile, and that is going to be our 163. So P10 is 163 centimetres. And our last question is, what percentile is a height of 180 centimetres? And we can see here that's our median. So our percentile would be P50, which is, as I said, our median.